Alright guys, welcome back. We're getting back on the ATV stuff again, and in this project it's going to be a KFX 400. I'm on my way to get it now. It popped up on Facebook Marketplace. It's a pretty good deal. I'm gonna go get it. I'm not gonna record it, but we'll check it out when I get back to the house. Alright, well here it is. It's not in too bad a shape. I did ride this. It doesn't go well. There's carburetor problems with it. It's leaking gas out of the petcock. The clutch is fine. I got it the second gear. Second gear was fine. I'm assuming the rest of the transmission's fine. I won't know. The previous owner said that he had put a new chain on it. He just replaced the rear brake pads and caliper. It looks like he did. For the most part, it's all here. Put a new battery in it. All these things are good. They all make for a decent buy. There's some other stuff here. It's missing nuts and bolts everywhere. Yeah, it's missing a bolt there. It's missing the peg. It's missing the heel guards. And I don't know if anyone who rides a bike knows that heel guards are very important on a four-wheel. You don't want to be running your feet over. So I'm going to have to probably pick up a set of heel guards. Other than that, I mean, it doesn't look too bad. It's just filthy. So I think what I'm going to do now is we are definitely going to wash it, clean it up. This thing's going to need some cosmetics, a little bit of a tune-up. But I think I got a good buy on this. So what we're going to do now is we're going to wash it up and then put it in the garage. Alright guys, cleaned up pretty good. The seat came pretty clean. The plastics, the wheels cleaned up pretty nice. Alright guys, we got it on the lift. We got to go over what's wrong with this thing. I got the trickle charge on the battery right now. Don't know if battery is good, bad, or indifferent. I think it needs a valve adjustment and the carb clean. And it definitely needs a starter clutch. Sometimes it grabs, sometimes it doesn't. So let's get in the stand and see if we can start this to see what it sounds like. That starter clutch is rough. I can smell gas. Alright, she ain't gonna start. Now, the guy that I bought this off, he must have hit it with ether or something to get it started. So, I'm assuming it's probably got low compression. I don't know. We'll start with adjusting the valves. But, man, it's rough. So we need to do a carb clean, we need to get a starter clutch for it, and we need to adjust the valves. So we'll start with the valves and see if we can get it to run. Guys, before we start, if you're not subscribed to the channel, it's free to you, it's free to me. It helps the channel grow. Smash that subscribe button, leave a comment, hit the like. I appreciate it. Thanks. I think the first thing we should do before we start tearing into anything here is, now I know one of these is the vacuum. I think it's that one. That one's the breather. That's the breather for the carb. This is the vacuum for the pump, for the vacuum fuel pump. The pulse pump that's on the tank, which was removed and replaced by a different one. I'm hoping that's still the same carb, which I think it is. It looks like it is. Definitely looks like it is, so we should be all right there. So let's pull the plug and do a compression test. All right, let's see what we got for compression. I am going to hold the throttle wide open as I crank it over. All right, as you could tell by the sound, the starter clutch is no good, but we only got 80 psi, and I don't think that's enough. I'm gonna look it up online and see what it's actually supposed to be. All right, so it said 120 is the minimum, 140 is what you want. So the fact that we're only at 80 is probably why this thing has a hard time starting. The spark plug is pretty carbonated. That's usually because the carburetor is not jetted properly. But the way this thing is running, I think it probably needs a top end. Now let's loosen these up. Take a peek inside. Okay, I just looked it up online. The LTZ and the KFX are both the same engine, but I looked up for the KFX, and the intake is supposed to be between 4 and 8 thousandths, and the exhaust is supposed to be between 8 and 12 thousandths. So let's check the intake first. Okay, I just checked them. This one here is 0 lash. It might even be more than that. This one here is 4 thousandths, which is on the min. So this one needs to be increased, so this one needs to be massively increased. Both of these are at 8 thousandths on the min of spec. I am going to increase these to 10 thousandths. The reason why is because I want this one in the middle, because exhaust heats up more than the intake, and if they're already on the low, when these valves heat up, they're going to expand, and then we're going to be out of spec, and it's not going to run right. So it'll be hard to start once it's warm. This one here, we got one side on the min, which we need to open up to the nominal size, which is 6 thousandths, and I want to make this one 6 thousandths. So what I got to do now is we got to continue to dismantle. We got to take the caps off. We got to take the cams out, and we got to reshim. I got to take this off. I already got the bolt out of it, but I have to disconnect the hose and maybe this other hose up here, and then pull it out of the way because I need to get the chain tensioner off in order to get the cams out. Cam tension is out, and I don't know if you guys can see it, but the timing mark here is up. That one's up, and that arrow there and that arrow there is level with the top of the case, and that arrow is level with the top of the case. There's no arrow on this side, and the crank is on top dead center. So it's where it needs to be. So let's get set up and pull the cams out. All right, now as far as the cams go, I'm going to do one at a time. I'm going to concentrate on the intake cam first. But first we have to take out this chain keeper because it's going to be in the way. The cams look pretty good. I don't see any issues with them outside of the fact that they're way out of adjustment, that the valves are way out of adjustment. I don't know if somebody did that on a rebuild or what, but I'm looking at the bolts on this engine, like the engine bolts themselves, and it doesn't, I mean, it looks like the exhaust was taken off at one point, but it doesn't seem to me like anybody took the engine apart, but yeah, I could be wrong. And the one thing I really like about this style engine is there's a pin that goes through the side over here, over here, that keeps the timing chain from falling down into the crankcase. And that's one of the things that I've always liked about this motor. And we'll start with this side here. Alright, I'm going to take this over to the bench, measure it, get the proper shim, and replace it. I'm not going to video any of that. I've done it a million times in my videos. Go back into my history. There's a KFX 400 that I did about a year ago that shows all this. And you want a strong magnet because the magnet pulls up the spacer as well. Alright, where we stand on shim. So valve lash on this one here is 10 thousandths. Valve lash on this one is 11 thousandths. it has to be between 8 and 12 thousandths. I couldn't get them exact because I've used so many of my shims. I don't have enough increments to get that of a finite end result, basically. So this one here is 10, that one's 11, which is fine. They're going to heat up. They're not over max. If anything, they're going to tighten up over time when the valve wears into the seat. I'm happy with that. This one here, I have both of these at 6 thousandths. So we're good to go. All right, it's all back together. I cranked it around a few times to make sure there's no interference. The cover's back on. I have the compression gauge set back up. Let's see if there was a change. See if we have better compression now. Now that we shimmed it. Let me hold this wide open. Still have that starter clutch. Starter clutch is toast. Alright, I'm going to stop there. I could probably get a few more PSI out of it if I could get it to crank over faster, but that's much better. We're over 100 now, about 115, so 100, actually almost 110. I would say anything over 100, this thing will run. I'm pretty sure that it will go up higher if I was able to crank the engine over more. So I think what I want to do now is just, let's hook up a temporary gas source and see if we can get this thing to fire. Right there. Sounds pretty powerful. Not smoking. I don't think there's a problem with the engine. You gotta get that carburetor off. We'll empty it with fuel. We'll blow it off, go over to the bench. Well, this might be one of the dirtiest carburetors I've ever seen. Look at how filthy this thing is. So we are gonna have to take it apart and clean the whole thing. But first we gotta get all this stuff off of it. This one here might be, I might need to soak this one. This one's probably gonna need a soaking. The amount of stuff that's on this. I wanna at least try to get the outside clean before I take it apart. And I have one of these carburetors in my storage, pot storage. I bought a YFZ 450 that had a 400 carb on it, and it actually ran pretty good. I mean, you would think that it would run lean or something, but no, they had it jetted perfectly. So if you ever run into a bind and you want to put a carb on a 450, these 400 carbs work if you jet them right. I took it off and put the right carb on it, obviously, but just saying that can be done. All right, let's start taking this thing apart. As you can see, it's clean now. It's not spotless. I mean, there's still a lot of cleaning to do on it, but I think I'm gonna probably soak this thing. Yeah, that gasket's toast, and there is some stuff down in the bottom here. Yeah, it's full of crud. Looks like dirt, sand, something. I don't know if you guys can see it down in there. Down in here. It's like sand or something in there. So I'm gonna need to get a rebuild kit, that's for sure. All right, let's continue. All right, while that's soaking in the carb cleaner, I'm gonna go use some hot soapy water and clean this thing, re-oil it, put it back in the airbox. I clean the airbox out, but I'll show you when I go to reinstall this. In my stash, I found another carburetor. This is for a 350 Raptor. And this carburetor looks pretty close to the same too. And we got that in there. It's not 100% better than, it's not broken like that one, but I don't know if they're the same size. Let's see. They are the same size. All right, so I got that to use. Oh, that's a nice gasket right there. That one's a beauty. I wonder if these are the same. Yeah, it's exactly the same. All right, I got a gasket. I don't need to go buy one. All right, guys, I got everything out of the pots cleaner. Everything is all clean. Looks really good. The carburetor looks brand new again. I'm going to reassemble it. It's just the opposite of what I did when I took it apart. And I'm going to throw it back on the machine, see what happens. I know I didn't record it, but it fired right up. I put the carburetor on there. Not leaking anymore. I adjusted the flow height. It was off. I think that's why it was overflowing with gas. The height was off on the float. Fixed that. And right now it's idling. It seems to be idling a bit high. We'll turn it down a little bit. Ripping. It's a rip up. I'm going to let this run for a few minutes. I want to see if that cooling fan comes on. Gets hot. And then we'll put it back together and we'll work on the pec top. Alright, so plastics are on. The only thing I don't have on is the seat because I got the battery on the tender. I put all new body pins in, all around. I was missing them all. I put them all in. Just so you guys know what I have. These are what I use. I bought a shit ton of them years ago and I haven't run out yet. And they were cheap. So those are all in. One other thing I did was the foot pegs. I had to fix the foot pegs. So the foot pegs had mismatched hardware, which I'll show you right now. So that's a standard size, standard screw that somebody drove into it. And there was a couple of millimeter ones, but their threads are a little janked up. So I went into my bucket of bolts and I saved the peg bolts from a bike I did, I don't know, about a year and a half ago, where I put Nerf bars on it, and the Nerf bars came with new hardware, so I saved the old hardware and threw them in the bucket. So I put all new hardware in there. I had to chase the threads out with an 8mm tap, and that tap size is, I'll tell you guys if you want to know. Oh, I'm sorry, it's a 10mm. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's a 10mm by 1.25. So I chased out the holes, replaced the screws. I'll go on the other side now. I'll show you what I did over there as well. 2 new screws, or bolts if you want to call it that. So they're on there really nice. Again, these are on. I got to figure out something with the ignition. Maybe I'll just buy an ignition to get the screw or the nut that holds it in there. It's missing the nut. The fenders are all bolted down. Everything's bolted down. The only thing is the rear's flat because there's no heel guards. I don't think I'm going to get heel guards for it. And that's pretty much it for now. It is leaking. Let me show you guys there. It is leaking right there from running. So the O-ring is probably gone behind that. And I got to get a new starter clutch for it anyway. So I'll get that O-ring as well. And yeah, it's coming along. Hey guys, let's see if it starts. So as you can see, outside of that really bad starter clutch, it runs really good. All I needed was just a little bit of a tune-up. I really didn't do much to it. Basically what I did was adjust the valves, clean the carburetor, good to go. And I did some nut and bolt replacement here. But that's going to be it on this video. Next video is going to be replacing the starter clutch because I don't want the video to run too long. But I want to thank you guys for watching. Like, subscribe, share, all that kind of stuff. This is going to be a fun project for me. And hey, I guess the brake light does work. Gonna have to fix that. This is a fun project for me. I'm really enjoying it, and we are going to continue on. So smash the bell button. You guys will get notified when the next video posts. Once again, thanks for watching, and see you guys in the next video.